without credible evidence being provided. Now, reports from Washington say that more South Africans will be added to the international list of terrorists. Last month, Zunaid and Farah Dockridge were added to that list. They were then slapped with travel restrictions abroad. And now Muslim leaders want credible evidence to be given before people are labelled as terrorists. Joe Seremane says he believes that the Democratic Alliance is ready to be led by a black man. Yesterday, Joe Seremane, who is also the DA's chairperson, announced that he would stand for the race of the national leadership of the DA. Another strong candidate for the position is Helen Zille, who's the current executive mayor of Cape Town. And then last month, Athol Trollip, who's the leader of the DA in the Eastern Cape, announced his candidature. The party will hold its annual Congress in May of this year. All right, we're now joined in our Cape Town studios by the chairperson of the Democratic Alliance, Joe Seremane, who's also announced his candidacy. Joe Seremane, I welcome you to the News at 10.
Good evening, ma'am.
All right, why have you decided to enter this race?
Well, I've decided to enter this race after listening to various opinions, diverse as they may be, but it shows great interest that the people are really interested, and that was across the spectrum. Some were proposing that I stand, some were proposing that I remain in the federal chairperson's position so that I advise the incumbents to the leadership. And then I looked at, and it was quite a broad spectrum. I was really surprised that you can have such opinion, and it gladdened me that at least our democracy is really becoming alive. And then I had to look into myself to say, is there a contribution that I can still make? Am I still prepared to make a contribution at that level? And I decided, after weighing everything, I said, no, I should really stand.
Let's weigh up the issue of race, because that's something that seems to come up consistently with regards to your candidature. A lot of analysts looking at the Democratic Alliance say the Democratic Alliance needs to gain ground within broader constituencies in South Africa, and more specifically, it needs to start luring the black electorate. The only way they can do that is if they have a black leader. Now, if you are that black leader, don't you think effectively that makes you a token black person and not necessarily the most credible of leaders, but just a black face who can help the DA get votes?
Well, I cannot really judge myself by other people's opinions and perception. I know who I am, and I know that the people I've seen them, and I've interacted with them. They've been amenable to my suggestions and influencing certain things, how we approach issues. And there is a document that's doing the rounds within the DA, which is our revisioning or repositioning document, where we're looking into ourselves. What are the things that need to be discarded? What are the things that need to be done and enforced, so that we reach out beyond, you know what, to use the normal cliche, beyond the apartheid legacy, so that we reach out into those areas that traditionally wouldn't have been that. And this is a process that has to take place throughout. There must be more people going this way and that way.
As the DA repositions itself, reconstructs itself, there's also the challenge of dealing with the perception of the DA as an elitist party. What would you do as DA leader to ensure that the DA assumes a more populist approach, as it were?
Well, the more we interact, after looking at and modifying our own approaches to the issues that affect everybody, you know, these things that affect South Africa are affecting everybody across the board. They are not necessarily white issues, black issues. These are the needs that need to be attended to. And as we interact, we begin to learn how to adjust to the various variations of these needs in different communities.
There's also the problem of a fractured opposition in South Africa, that the Democratic Alliance may be the biggest of the opposition parties, but that clout is taken away by smaller opposition parties embracing different ideologies. And as a result, it makes it difficult to have a formidable opposition confronting this monolith, which is the ANC, which already has about 70% of the electorate. If we want to have more robust debate, a more formidable challenge to the ruling party, what would the Democratic Alliance do in order to break the fracturing within the opposition in South Africa?
Well, like I say, it's really to be redefining yourself and sharpening your focus on these issues. And, you know, we're all like players in front of an audience that is the electorate. The sharper you are, the more effective you are, the more they begin to look at you. And it depends which organization or opposition party does that. Even the ruling party cannot just rest on its laurels. All the time they need to be improving themselves. And that in itself is a process of growth in this young democracy of ours.
Now, finally, we live in a very gender-sensitive society, and that affects everybody. As a result, there is a view that the new leader of the DA should be a woman. That would be representative of the South African complexion at the moment. That woman would most probably be Helen Zille if she announces her candidacy. Were she to do that, would you step back and let Helen Zille take it?
I would say let the best person be the winner. And if Congress says and they vote her, and I respect that, you know, sentiment that women also have to be given the opportunity of showing the talents, and they have attributes. And maybe I am my mother's son. You know, I really support that our women should be allowed to arise and give forth their own contributions and skills. And if she wins, then that's it. No hard feelings about it. And it's a very lovely development. I would regard it.
Okay, thanks so much, and I wish you the very best of luck. Joe Seremani, the chairperson of the Democratic Alliance, speaking to us about his vision, his plans, now that he's announced his candidacy to lead the DA. We'll be back after the break. Stay with us.